was very clear that look, I mean, if we need to keep a hold on our secret formula, on our quality, we really can't outsource this. That was my thinking. Is it the most efficient way of doing business? Probably not.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Indianaut podcast, where we interview some of India's next best analytical and creative minds who are not only revolutionizing their own field, but at the same time transforming India's entrepreneurial ecosystem one step at a time. Our guest for the day is the founder and CEO of Pursue, a hard seltzer brand with a high focus on quality, design, and individualism. A fourth-generation entrepreneur, our guest grew up in a family with varied business interests dating back to World War II. Our guest holds an undergraduate degree in accounting and finance from Purdue University and an MBA from Babson College. Besides Pursue Seltzer, he also has various ventures and investments in the Web3 space. We have with us Anish Reddy. Let us jump right into the conversation. Hi Anish, I hope you're all settled in.
All set.
Awesome. Let's get started. So Anish, before we delve into the topic of the day, we'd love to learn more about you in your own words. So tell us your Indianaut origin story.
Oh man. It's a bit all over the place, Gautam, to be honest with you. But first of all, thank you so much for having me over. It's such a pleasure. I know we were due to connect, and I'm happy that we're connecting. So yeah, my background really, I come from a third generation family business, has been in the alcohol industry. Now I would say for north of 50 years. Pretty much grown up in a household, where alcohol was something that we all learned about, the process, distillation, even the business side of things, the distribution, all of that. And we've really seen, at least I've really seen, throughout my lifetime now, how the whole landscape for the alcohol bev industry has changed in India, and it's just amazing to see. So yeah, my story really is very entrenched with the industry. Now, apart from that, I just love things like investing. I love technology. A little bit, I'm not a little bit actually. I'm pretty well entrenched in that side of the business as well. So yeah, between these two, that keeps me busy, and I split time between the US and India.
Awesome. I think we reserve another day, another episode for all of your interests in the investing side of the leg, but because I think that'll create another episode out of it. And as a content creator, it is my responsibility to maximize content out of one person as much as I can. So let's focus on Pursue for the day. So Pursue, by the way, I've had your product. It's absolutely incredible. So my question is, what inspired you to start a seltzer company in India? And, what sets your product apart from other beverages in the market?
Sure, Gautam. Look, I was actually living in Miami for the longest of time. Even before I started splitting time between India and Miami, Miami was full time for me. And this was until COVID broke out. So March 2020 is when I thought I'd rather quarantine in India with parents and family. So that's when the whole idea about launching a hard seltzer came about, because mind you, 2018, 2019. All we were drinking in the US was hard seltzer, right? And when I say all, at least it was a substitute to beer. And obviously, people will still enjoy their tequilas and their gins and their champagnes, and that's all fine. But hard seltzer was a great alternative to beer, super low calorie. It had the same amount of alcohol as lager, right? 5%. And it was a perfect drink. And you can see that. You can see that hard seltzer is a huge market in the US, and rightfully so. And then when I was quarantining in India, I realized, hell, we don't have a hard seltzer. And I'm like, why don't we just make one? I mean, we're from the industry after all. So, and that's honestly, that's how it came about. It was a COVID baby. It was ideated during COVID. And then, it was baby steps initially. And then it was one big step after another big step. And before you knew it, we had the brand up and running in December of 2021, Jan of 2022. You spoke about packaging, Gautam, and that's something that's very, very dear to me, because I feel like end of the day, the product has to look good on its own, right? Even before, and what's inside the product should be even better than how the product looks on the outside. So we were very, very stringent on our quality. We only use 100% natural flavors. We work with some of the best flavor houses in the world. We literally had to cherry pick which flavor house has had the best flavor and then only pick that. And we also worked with one of Scandinavia's top design agencies to design a bottle, because I always wanted a bottle that kind of espoused nostalgia, modern silhouette, yet having that feel of nostalgia, especially for us Indians, because end of the day, these are things that we really find cool. It's kind of marrying the two. We did over 50 iterations of multiple glass bottles. We did, multiple iterations of, how it has to look and how it has to feel when you hold it, the weight, all of that. So, it took us like 18 months to develop this product, Gautam. I kid you not. And
Awesome.
we finally got out. Yeah, and we finally got it out towards the end of 2021. So yeah, I think, and we're also one of the maybe we are the first beverage brand in the country to have independent caricatures per flavor. So if you look at if you look at Amul Milk, for example, the Amul Baby is a caricature, one caricature. I look at Bira, it's the Bira monkey, one caricature. Seven Up guy, one caricature. We didn't want to do that. We thought, okay, look, let us have independent caricatures for flavor. So which means any flavor we launch, we have to invest and create that artwork for the flavor, that caricature for the flavor. So we work with Jordan Joshua, who's a Holland illustrator, a Dutch muralist, and he does all artworks, and he's fantastic. He's phenomenal. He's very well known, recognized globally, and so any flavor we launch, it's Jordan and Pursue, sorry, we work together and get things done. So from that perspective, we've covered the bottle, we've covered the flavor, we've covered the artwork, we've covered, the packaging, all of that. And for us, that in a sense is what helps you at least start building the brand. You create the platform to create something special out of that.
Awesome. And I remember when I actually consumed your bottles, I couldn't help but notice, but each and every flavor it's not named by the flavor's ingredients per se. It's actually named with some sort of an identity, whether it is a nostalgia recall or something like that. And I think that's awesome, and
Yeah.
I think that's an excellent approach to how you are creating an independent brand identity for each and every flavor. And I think that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So we covered your packaging and branding, but I'm actually curious. And by the way, congratulations on the, I believe it's a 3-star gold ITI award for taste and 2022 Penta award for design. Congratulations on that. But I want to talk about your brand name. So I'm curious, what is the name, what is the reasoning behind the name Pursue? What is the story behind keeping this name?
Great question, Gautam. For us, even before we started creating the Alcobev product, we wanted to create, first of all, an emotion towards a brand, right? It could be anything, but we wanted to create a certain type of emotion. And we care a lot about freedom. And when you talk about freedom, it's individualism, freedom to choose, freedom to pursue, freedom to do what you like. And that's how the name Pursue came about. And the good thing with Hard Seltzer is it is very, very versatile, and it's a very freedom forward drink. And what I mean by that is, can be consumed at any time of the day, can be consumed any time of the night, to be honest. People drink it at nightclubs, people drink it in the afternoons at a work lunch, people drink hard seltzers before they go out, or I've seen it many times myself, like the night, we're getting into like 3:30, 4 a.m. at night, people are already down a few shots, and then they're just nursing their way through with a hard seltzer before going home. So it's such a amphibious, versatile category. And that's why it blew up so quickly, so fast outside of India, right? And now it's catching fire in India. So and when you boil all that down, Gautam, it just comes down to freedom, because there is no set time, day, precedence, historical shackle that is holding down this category, right? It's not like a typical single malt that you would drink at a particular time of the day or the evening.
Yes.
So it was just fantastic. I mean, it just married really well with our vision, with what we care about, and then having a product like this.
Awesome.
I think you've rightly justified that time when I had a seltzer bottle at 11 a.m. in the morning while watching an episode of Succession.
Oh God.
But
Early
so
start.
so Anish, let's now focus on the business side of things. Okay, so you're a multi-generation entrepreneur. I believe you're a fourth generation entrepreneur, and you grew up in a family with varied business interests. I believe dating back to World War II. And food and beverage has always been a
Yes.
cornerstone, right? So, can you talk about the
Yeah.
decision to expand your family-owned distillery business into the seltzer market? And you know, what were the biggest challenges on this path?
Sure. So yes, like we started really, my great grandfather, we're talking the 1920s. He did his undergrad in the UK. Believe it or not, he had to get on a boat. And that trip itself was, I don't know, it was like an exploratory trip, right? How these colonizers go explore places. They take forever to
Okay.
get from one place to another on a boat. So that's basically what he had to do back in those days. And he finished his engineering at Imperial College, and then he always loved food processing, and he was in fact working for a food processing business in the UK. Started in the factory and then kind of built from there. And what happened was he got married to my great grandmom, local lady in the UK. And then in the 30s, they just saw opportunity in India at the time because remember we were still under the British rule in the 30s, really. And then they came back to basically build a business, and that business was a food process. They used to can foods. And then when the war broke out, that was a big break for the business because there was a big need for canned, preserved food for the British Indian Army, and that's basically how it started. And then obviously, the alcohol business is something that was started in the 70s, really. We started as distributors in the alcohol space. And then in the 80s, we backward integrated from being distributors to manufacturers, distillers, really. And yeah, so we've been doing that for a long time. And again, Pursue as a hard seltzer was a family's first ever carbonated beverage that has ever been created. All the distilleries that we're involved in, they just do so-called IMFL, in other words, hard spirits, which obviously is not carbonated, right? So we do whiskeys, brandies, gins, all of that for Diageo India, because we've been manufacturing for them, like I said, since the 80s. Erstwhile United Spirits, now it's called Diageo India. So Pursue is our own brand. It's unrelated to the business in general. And this is something that we really wanted to get into. The team also like understood the business, understood, okay, there is something here. India is a very, very young country. Gone are the days, Gautam, where, for example, if I visited your house 20 years ago, right? Even in age, you would greet me with, can I get you like a lime juice or a Coke or Pepsi? Like a glass of wine? Can I get you a pint of beer? So that we've kind of crossed the chasm when it came to alcohol being a taboo to alcohol now being like a social instrument.
Alcohol being a social enabler
Oh,
as well, per se, that it's become a recreational activity.
enabler.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, absolutely, Gautam. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I felt that okay, maybe now is the right time. And believe it or not, there are other hard seltzers as well. And for me, that's great to see because it means that the market is opening up. Again, it's not easy, right? You need to stay the course because Gautam, we're not, like I said, we're not launching a, a time and tried product like a whiskey or a beer or any of these things. So it's just a matter of opening up the market, getting more people on board, getting people to enjoy our products. So that way we give the customer an alternative. Like for example, you have an alternative. You can pick whether you want a hard seltzer today or a beer today. Maybe you didn't have it before, but today you have that option. So we've done our part to create some experience for the customers. So Gautam, I feel that from that perspective, it was great. You spoke about challenges, and my God, there were a lot of challenges. I'm not going to lie. First of all, this is the first foray into carbonated beverages. We did not want to outsource any of the production to anybody. because we wanted to control our quality. We wanted to control our quality from day one. Our formulas, our formulations, our flavors are our IP. End of the day, that's our IP, right? And sure, designs are patented and everything, but really what's important is what's at the bottle. So we thought we'd rather take the time, take the resource to invest in our own carbonation line within our distillery. We have a distillery in Goa, Gotham, so we do it over there. And I was very clear that, look, I mean, if we need to keep a hold on our secret formula, on our quality, we really can't outsource this. That was my thinking. Is it the most efficient way of doing business? Probably not. The easiest way is to subcontract and to test things. But we jumped in with both our feet in. We didn't want to have just one foot in shallow water to test the waters and then take it out. We're like, let's get in, let's go all in, and then let's try and let's build and let's create something special. So taking that approach, Gautam, we thought, okay, let's do it ourselves. Like I said, we've never done a carbonation line. So right from the installation to testing to all of that, there were so many teething issues that every day was a battle. Every day was a battle, and the production team has done a phenomenal job to get to where we are. There's just not enough credit to give them, but I feel like that to us, and that's why it took us a lot of time, because we wanted to launch in October of 2021. Then October became November, then November became December, and then December we just launched in Goa. And by the time we got into our first big major metro, Gautam, which was Bangalore, that was, I think, in end of March, early April, if I'm not mistaken.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. That's amazing, Anish. I think it's a beautiful journey that you've been on so far, and we look forward to you entering many more states and essentially continuing your good fight against beer. So,
No. Look, I enjoy beer myself. I drink beer myself. I have nothing against. I really, really enjoy it. And I'm not being diplomatic. I genuinely do enjoy beer. It's always nice to have options. It's like, like maybe today I
definitely.
wanted to do something different. So yeah.
Definitely. No, I think as a beer drinker, and I love my beer. I think I also at times, I definitely love to experiment in a way that if there is some, if I go to a tap room or a microbrewery, I love to have unique flavors and
Right.
stuff. And I think that is something that seltzer enables, right, as a category. I never quite took to, I never quite, took to breezers, but seltzers as a category, it really enables being able to enjoy different flavors in a carbonated manner along with alcohol. So I think that is the right space where, seltzer comes in. It's a light drink, but at the same time, it packs a punch in taste and, gets the job done. So if you're not in the mood for a traditional lager, or if you're not in the mood if you're not able to find a good, microbrewery nearby, a seltzer is your go-to place, essentially.
And Gautam has got the same amount of alcohol as beer. It's 5%, little to no
Yep.
sugar. So from a calorie perspective, it's much lower.
Definitely. I think it's about the fact that while alcohol itself isn't healthy, but it's always about picking the healthier option, right? It's about making those little habit changes wherein you're switching to a different lifestyle per se. And I think that's the point you have to drive home, that you don't have to cut on something to actually be able to you can just choose a healthier alternative always.
100%, no doubt.
Absolutely. So, Anish, as a relatively new category in India, how do you plan on educating customers about seltzer and build awareness for your brand as well as seltzers in general?
So that's a great question, Gautam. And one of the things we are doing as a brand is trying to fast track our entry into as many major markets as we possibly can. A lot of startup brands in India, they start with Goa and they go into Bombay, Maharashtra, or they go into Karnataka first, they stabilize, then they go to another geography, and it probably takes them a couple years before they get complete WOD, as they say, with a distribution across the nation, forget across the city. But for us, we took the reverse approach. In year one, we got into 7 states. As you know, in India, you get state by state approval. Unfortunately, we can't sell online. It's not a soft drink where you can produce in one facility and then ship all over the country through one warehouse. It's unfortunately not the case. So what we did is when we launched, within the first year, we got into Goa, we got into Pondicherry, and then we got into we got into Karnataka, big market, Maharashtra, big market, Delhi, big market. We got into Rajasthan, which is another sizable market, especially for a product like ours. And then we're also focusing on a few other markets within the country and potential for exports as well. And again, by leaving exports aside, by increasing your width nationally, you're in way more touch points. Number one, more people get to even before they drink your brand, they get to see your brand, right? Then they understand what it is. And on social media is very important because unfortunately that's our only channel of I wouldn't even call it advertisement, but I would say communication, right? Because we can't use print, we can't use print media, television, and now those rights are like insanely expensive. So you'll seldom find startup alcohol brands even use those channels. So social media is very important for us. Yes, we do influencer-driven campaigns, but I think some of our biggest wins of last year, for example, you can take magnetic fields. Magnetic fields, the brands that were there were AB InBev for beer, which was Budweiser, Corona, Hoegaarden, and then you had Pernod Ricard for alcohol, for spirits, which was Jameson, Absolute, Beefeater, all that. You did not find any startup Indian brand there, right? You did not find any of your gins, you didn't find any of your beers. We were the only startup Indian brand that got them, and that was our first year. We were the only one there, and
That's awesome.
and that's a testament. That's a testament to our brand, because Magnetic Fields, quality, quality, quality. That's it, right? They will not choose anything because that's the kind of experience they're giving people. And we're very thankful that we fit that bill. And what we did was we also created an IP where we had our own disco tent. Disco house is our genre of music for Pursue. Again, because that also stems from the whole freedom concept back in the day. And it was phenomenal. 3 days, the tent just transformed the experience. It was like a complete disco venue inside. And it was called the Pursue Cosmic Disco Club. And yeah, like that's a great concept that was created. And that is something that we're also looking to down the road. So I think for us, we need to do a lot more things like that to create awareness. We need to be available in as many stores as possible. We need to try and target places where a lot of customers consume lots of beer, so we give them a different alternative. And yeah, I mean, we need to keep hammering away on the awareness front. No doubt about it.
Awesome. No, I definitely see what your approach is, and I definitely understood that. And I think, as you rightly mentioned, distributing to as many places as possible where beer is available, where alcohol is widely used, and is the bang on approach. It's essentially creating impact by taking shelf space in as many places as possible, so that awareness builds itself. Right.
Right. Right. Because if you look at the data globally, right, not just in India, 70 to 75% of beer that's consumed is consumed at home, which means that pack of beer, 6-pack or a case of beer is purchased at a liquor store. So out of every
Right.
100 cases sold, 75 are sold from a liquor store and then 25 at your bars, restaurants, and cafes. So that's the math. And I'm sure, realistically, you find that as well. Like your fridge is stocked with a lot more beer than the amount of beer, say, you order at a cafe. So it's the same thing
Right.
with seltzer, to be honest. Yeah. Whereas
Right.
cocktails, quite the opposite.
No,
Yeah.
awesome. So, Anish, how do you see the seltzer industry evolving in India over the next few years? So, what trends do you anticipate, and how do you plan on, staying ahead of the competition as the first mover essentially in this category?
So we are extremely bullish on the seltzer space in India. And we don't say this lightly, and I can tell you why. Um, if you have a good product, right? And if you're the right product, because there are some brands out there that call themselves a hard seltzer, but they're really not. They're again your similar RTD, colored, filled with sugar. Like, it's so bad to drink that, right? And I'm not saying alcohol is healthy. Of course not. It's alcohol. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not something that you want to drink like regularly and a lot. And we say that we say that as well. But that being said, if it's the right type of product, if it is a right seltzer, high quality, right? A really good brand, well packaged, and if it hits all the right notes, I don't see any reason why it would be a small market in India and a small brand in India, because uh, a large percentage of our population, Gautam, 65% is under the age of 42. Man, that's a huge number. And people who are under 42, especially living in these urban environments, um, you know, take myself for example, right? I'm in my 30s. I love to experiment with different brands. Yes, I am loyal to a few brands, but that doesn't deter me from enjoying another type of single malt or a different style of wheat beer or a different style of gin. Because that's who we are. Like, we love to experiment, we love to try new things, but then again, we really appreciate quality. Very, very different to some of the generations before us, right? And if in a market like that, in a place such as India, where it's warm almost throughout the year, right? At least in the major cities, this is a recipe for success. I don't see any other way, because look at our beer market. Look how huge our beer market is. It's insane. Beer, in a way, has become a staple beverage for a lot of us millennials, Gen Zs, and frankly, baby boomers in India. I mean, it's a staple beverage.
Definitely.
Nobody shies away from it. It's Kingfisher has created a phenomenal brand. Credit to them. I think Budweiser today is doing an excellent job in India with the way how they've targeted, how they've gone about branding themselves in our country. So when I see all this, like, this is as clear as day. It's as clear as day, right? It we need to do right by the customer, and we need to give the customer a damn good experience. And that's where we come in. But if you look at the hard seltzer market, to your question, Gautam, absolutely. Absolutely. In our country, absolutely.
Awesome, awesome, Anish. That's incredible. So, Anish, in the previous answer, you spoke about expansion per se, and you talked about how you went because of how the regulatory landscape is, you have to go state by state to get approvals to essentially be able to sell in that state. So,
Right.
can you talk about the challenges you faced in navigating the regulatory environment for alcohol and seltzer in India, and how have you worked to overcome these challenges?
So there usually is a lot of paperwork that's involved. Some states are easier than some other states. So then we had to work with people who've done this before for other brands, right? Who are well versed, who understand, okay, how to fill up the application the right way, how to move things, and we wanted to do everything by the book. So that also required us to take a little bit of time, because we had to do our homework, we had to double check, triple check our answers, really, to make sure everything was done the right way. But I'll also be the first one to tell you that it's helpful that we come from an Alcobear family, because we understand what needs to be done, how the applications have to be filed. Agreed, it's for a completely different product. But still, these are things that we have experience with, given that we do bottling and manufacturing for Diageo. So that really helped us. But yeah, it's the case with every brand, right? It's the case even with the McDowell's, I'm guessing, where you still have to go through the process. I mean, the process. You can't go around that. And unfortunately, we can't sell online. Maharashtra allows you to, so we're available on the Living Liquids app. We're available on the World of Wines app. That helps us a lot. A lot of people just order from there and it gets delivered home. But there are the other states don't allow you to do that, right? So typically people go buy it themselves, or then just probably send a friend, or they just send home help from the house to go pick it up for them. But yeah, so these are some of the challenges that we have. Like if you take the US, for example, I can order hard seltzer or tequila, whatever I want online. I just go to grizzly.com and I order it. It's simple. You first have to create an account. You have to prove that you're over 21 years of age, and then it's easy. It would be amazing if we have that system nationally, because that way, if anything, is going to create more revenue for the states as well. That's what I feel personally. Because Swiggy is a fantastic litmus test, really, for the alcohol industry. Today, people order Swiggy once a week at minimum. Swiggy food from Swiggy or Zomato. So we feel if the same thing, if the same structure is created for alcohol as well, it would bode really well for them. So that's what I see.
No, definitely. That's rightly put, Anish. Anish, on an exciting note, I'm curious to learn, what are some things that we can expect out of Pursue Seltzer in the upcoming months or the upcoming years? What are some exciting things that you have planned?
Well, I have to keep this close to the chest, Gautam, but I will tell you that there are some cool. Okay, let me put it this way: there are some new flavors that are coming. Can't
Awesome.
say which ones, but they're coming. I promise you that. And like I said, with every new flavor comes a new artwork, and with every new flavor comes a new tagline, and with every new flavor comes its own identity. So I can guarantee you that all that stays the same, and that will continue to stay the same. But it's coming, and we're just waiting for the right time to kind of announce that to everyone.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Anish. Anish, I just have one question for you, okay? And because you are a domain expert when it comes to the alcohol beverage industry in India specifically, I would want to know that, what advice do you have for entrepreneurs looking to start a business in a highly regulated industry like alcohol?
Um, my honest answer will be the more regulated it is, the more harder it is to do. You have a huge opportunity to add value to the country, to add value to the brand, and obviously to add value to your investors, to yourself. If the barrier to entries are really small, very low, easy, sure you can do that as well. But there's a lot of disruption to be done, especially to industries such as ours. We are a massive, massive industry in India. It's not even a joke anymore. I mean, the numbers prove it for themselves. Tamil Nadu, for example, Tamil Nadu state consumes ridiculous amounts of alcohol. We're talking over, I would say close to 5 crore cases, and a case is 9 lakhs of spirit consumed, every month, which is an insane, insane number when you do it on a per capita basis. Uh, it's a massive industry. However, there are challenges. Why? It's alcohol. It's high tax, right? It's regulation. It's paperwork. Sometimes it's cartelization. There's all these things that you need to take into account. And that's why for one success, you have hundreds of failures, which kind of again comes back to, and with any business, you take even a tech enterprise, so many tech startups, so many funded startups in the country, but not everyone becomes a true success, right? In that sense. So I think we are also on that same in that same level, right? Where the success gets shared in a huge limelight, that draws a lot more people into the industry, which is a great thing because we need that. But like I said, this is an industry to really disrupt. People talk to me, and I love tech, and people tell me, there's so much disruption going on in tech. I'm like, I've really looked at it because that's where the real disruption is. Because alcohol blends, blends a beautiful. It's a beautiful blend of something that's fashionable, so it's fashion with a consumer product, right? Which is also taste and preference and taste buds and all of that, with a demographic. So it's kind of like it's fashion, it's food, it's generational. I mean, it's just so much going on that it's an amazing industry to be a part of. Like, I'm extremely privileged to be a part of this industry. I mean, no two ways about it.
Definitely, And I think, Anish, just driving home the point you mentioned that, you know, like you said, that millennials, baby boomers, Gen Z, we're the kind of an audience, specifically when it comes to an alcohol beverage taste, that we're open to newer experiences, we're open to quality. And I think the age-old traditional brands, like, uh, previous generations might be more interested in them rather than us. Like, we would always want to try that new single malt or try that new seltzer category itself. And I think that's why this would be the right time to actually try to build in this space, because there is so much disruption possible. And like you mentioned, there's a high barrier to entry. So only the people who are willing to put in that effort, like you are, and put in that, grunt to get stuff done, will be able to disrupt and succeed in this.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're super bullish on the space, Gautam, and we're going nowhere. I think, the way our sales numbers have been moving, touch wood, it's looking promising for us. And I think, there's so much to do in India. There's just so much to disrupt, so much value to add to people that, the sky's the limit in our country, especially in India.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anish, for joining us today. We wish you and Pursue the very best of luck for the future.
Thank you, Gautam, and thank you for having me. And look, anytime you need Pursue, I'm literally one phone call away. So just feel free to call me anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this episode. The Indianaut podcast is available on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook to receive all updates on the upcoming episodes. We'll see you in the next one.